Hi guys, and welcome to the first videos that I've done in quite a long time. I'm going to jump back on these. But anyway, this was a organised race that I did on Sunday morning, well today, for my organised racing league that I've been a part of for a little while now, Transnation eSports. We've got a YouTube channel where the live stream of this with commentators was streamed. But anyway, this was my first qualifying lap. Got 18 minutes of qualifying to play with, so this was my first lap. Hopes going into USA weren't great. I mean, look, my pace wasn't looking very good in practice and all my time trials that I was doing before all this, and yeah, I wasn't very confident at all heading into this weekend, but this lap actually did end up being pretty good throughout the rest of it, apart from the last segment right here in the final sector. This glare is just shocking, and I couldn't find my braking point, completely missed it, went wide, and that completely costed my lap. Which, yeah, caused me to be about 1 second off the pace, which was not really acceptable. So I whacked on another set of soft tyres, and I got straight back out there. This time for a much better lap. I think I was 8/10 up on my on my past lap. So this one's actually good, and I actually managed to hit my braking point here, and that was a perfect final corner. And that buffed me up into P1. It was a 132.01. It immediately got stolen by another guy that went faster, but I knew I could still improve. So this is my final qualifying lap. I'll let this play out in full, and I'll talk to you guys after it's done. So guys, that was enough to get me up into P2, but my teammate came in and set a quicker lap after me and stole that P2, but the Red Bulls, P2 and 3, my teammate was actually really quick. He's on a controller, and he's a really quick driver. He's had an unfortunate couple races, but I think it's time for the race. So here we are on the grid. Strategy, soft to medium. And soon enough we were lining up on the grid and hoping not for any incidents to happen, as sometimes they do heading into turn 1. So I'll let this lap 1 play out because it's quite a good, interesting one. And yeah, I'll get back to talking as soon as this is over. So, pretty hectic first lap. The guy ahead of me had a crazy false start, so he was driving into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty. So on the first lap, I've been promoted up to P1. That didn't really last for long though. The guy behind me, Thierry, he's a rapid driver. He was soon right up my gearbox, and as we can see, right here down the main straight, he had the DRS on me, or the slipstream, and managed to sneak right past me. I didn't want to give it up initially, so I broke really late and tried to get the switch back, but it didn't quite work, and he was handed P1. Tried to go for the switchback again, but I just couldn't get the traction down, and Thierry moved up into P1. Now, that's a solid start. You know, P2 going pretty well. Not much happened from here for a little bit, but there was something that spiced up the race quite a lot.
Safety car deployed. The safety car has been deployed. Watch your delta.
Safety car. So, soon enough, me and the guy ahead were into the pit box for a set of tyres. Now, he went in for a soft pair of tyres, which if you don't know Formula 1, they're the quickest tyre, but they don't last as long. Me, on the other hand, was going in for the hard tyre, the slowest tyre, but the one that lasts the longest. So, in we go. Tyres on, bit of a delay, and we were out the box. And we exited the pits in P5, I believe. And then a couple people up ahead chose not to pit, which then, of course, had to later come in, and I'm effectively on the safety car restart P3. So, a couple of those guys ahead just preparing to restart. Now the safety car has gone in, and I got a absolutely shocking exit on the restart, but luckily Brett Keenan behind me also did as well. A huge dive here from Thierry on Carter Boy there. He got it done. I mean, I got it done as well, but that was a bit of a scary one, must admit. A bit later on in the race, a couple of laps later, I'm right behind one of my competitors, Guy Tasker, who ran really wide there, that McLaren. So now I'm right up next to him and battling for the position here. Staying behind him, and quite frankly, I had the pace on him for these all these laps to come, pretty much. And we were battling for position, for quite a while. Now this got very spicy very quickly. I didn't quite have the run down this main straight to get him. I went for a move down the inside, but I was very slow over that curb. Now this is when it gets spicy. Just up the road you might see a little car, a little white car, and he's going, and he makes a mistake. He goes crazy wide, and he has to slow right down. This slows Guy Tasker, the orange car ahead of me, the McLaren, slows him right down, and all of a sudden everybody behind me catches up because we're going slow. So now it's effectively a 5-way battle for P2. So it gets spicy, ladies and gentlemen. Brett goes for a move down my inside, but doesn't quite get it done, as I got the better run down the DRS straight. But there's a Mercedes behind him looking for a move, and I don't really want to fight either of these guys into this corner because this could get a little bit hairy. So I pull off to the right side and go a little bit wide just so they have enough room, and they kept battling down there. Now a bit of contact between these two up here slows Guy right down, which allows me to catch right back up to these two. But these guys didn't take a very good line through there, and that's kind of put me a bit off-centered. And now we're on coming on to lap 10, and there's a 5-way battle for P2, which is insanity. Should not be happening, but one of the best races I've had so far. On the DRS straight, had the DRS on Guy, but he got a really good exit, so I couldn't quite catch up to him. So now the main threat for me was the Mercedes right behind me of D'Amalia. Huge pressure on right here, but Guy doesn't get a very good exit of this corner, which gets me right up close to him, and I had the speed to get past, but there's just nowhere to overtake in these S's. So I had to hold back. He gets an even worse run there, catching a bit too much curb. yet again slowed down by him, which is pretty much allowing the Mercedes and Brett to catch back up. But I got a horrible exit to the S's here, and that allows D'Amalio to go down the inside, and I think Brett's having a look as well. So I'm on the right side. Brett and D'Amalio look for a move. D'Amalio gets it done, but it's again not over yet, as I've got the DRS on the Mercedes. Work it up into rich overtake, so this car is as quick as it can be on a straight line. I hug the right side of the track, trying to get through, braking as late as I can. Try to get a switchback, bit of a lock up there, which allows me to get a little bit of a better line around the outside of the Mercedes, but I decided to cut back in behind him, as it's probably the better idea at this current stage in time. But I go for a move down the inside, and I actually get it pulled off almost, but I got a 3-second time penalty, which kind of knocked me off a bit here. I get right up close to him, and I think I give this guy a bit of a nudge, just on the overspeed there around that corner, and this battle is only yet to get spicier. So, after all that, I end up behind D'Amalio, and Brett is behind me. So, yeah, what a crazy race here so far. A bit later on, a couple laps later, we start to regroup again, and Brett goes for a move down my inside, which forces me a bit wide, but I wasn't having a bar of that, so I returned it, gave him a little bit of a nudge, but he ended up getting the position down anyway, which allowed Eduardo to go for a move down the inside of me and Brett. So we're going 3 wide into a hairpin. Eduardo misses his braking point, so I go for a switchback, but I couldn't go anywhere as Brett was on the inside. Onto the DRS straight now, and we are about 4 wide as there's another car behind me. I've got the slipstream of both of these guys hugging the right side of the track. Nothing I can do here, so I'm going to have to brake in a straight line and let these guys go into this left-hander, braking very heavily. And everybody's ghosting around from lag. Brett gets a snap of oversteer, and this is where it gets a little bit hairy. Joe stuffs up his braking line up there, speeding up to 25. And now all of a sudden we've got a 6-way battle for any position. Brett gives Joe an almighty hit there in the side pod. And then it's a battle for Brett. We split up from the other guys, and I go for a move down his inside. On the ERS mode, down the inside, and I get a lot of curb there, but I managed to get the move done, and that is me up into P4. And then it was a chase for Guy Tasker once again, who I soon caught up to within about a lap's time, but again, slowing me down a little bit from getting the wrong line, and all of a sudden Brett's all the way back in this fight, so I'm like, no way, I'm going for a move down here and getting this over with, braking as late as I possibly can into the hairpin. Not leaving a whole lot of space, but enough racing room there for Guy, who is right up my gearbox. Nowhere to go for me. If I turn too sharp anywhere, both of us are going off the track. But anyway, Brett's going to look for a move on Guy into the hairpin, and they shoot by, and this is where it gets a bit hairy. Yeah, doesn't look great. A bit of lag there caused me to ghost into a guy there, and once I was inside Guy's car, there was no way of me getting out without him being spun, so that was a little bit hairy. Might get a bit of a incident report from that, but it's just unfortunate. A bit of lag there and ghosting, typically causing accidents as usual, but anyway, we move forward, and all eyes were set on overtaking Brett, who was just ahead of Thierry. Now, I didn't think I had the pace to get ahead of Thierry, so my eyes weren't on him, they were all on Brett, and Thierry actually goes for a move on Brett there, but doesn't quite get it done. Slows me down a little bit. A bit further on, however, I was catching a bit of pace up to Thierry, but I also had Eduardo, who nearly finished my race. So yeah, he went for a dive, hit someone's rear, and spun into me. But I got a bit of wing damage, but that didn't stop me. As I went for a move on Brett around the outside, he went defensive, which allowed me to go really aggressive on the outside. But because I got the overtake done with all 4s over the white line, I had to give the position back, which then gave the Mercedes of Mano the opportunity to get past as well while I was slowing down. But I was not having a single bar of that, and managed to hold on to that position by cutting the track a little bit, I really couldn't do anything there. If I stayed on the track, we would have both been taken out. So yeah, all eyes on Brett now, with a angry Mercedes behind me on fresh softs. I didn't want to hesitate on this. I wanted to get past Brett and have it done with. So, full aggression mode, down the DRS straight, put it up into Rich, I think, and overtake. So as fast as it can be on the straight. Once again, DRS, slipstream galore, down the main straight. Got it done. And that was pretty much it. Brett tried to go for a move back in there, but I pretty much held P3 for the end of the race and crossed the line in P3. What a crazy race. Penalties promoted me up into P2 though, so second place. Solid result here in USA considering the circumstances. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I haven't really made one of these in a long time. Just a couple of screenshots here from the race that I thought it would be nice to share. Let me know if you want me to make more of these. I know lots of you guys aren't racing fans, but I really enjoy making these videos just so I can express what I actually do on my weekends. Anyway, thanks guys, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.